Welcome to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. And we're going to talk about a very important subject today. There are 7 retirement realizations. Well, what does that mean? A lot of times people that are approaching their retirement years, they're thinking about obviously leaving their job. Let's talk a little bit about how that shapes a person's identity. And also let's talk about how your risk tolerance should change in retirement as well. Kristen, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Good.
It's always good to see you. You look beautiful
You
as
as well.
always.
You as well.
Thank you. And Greg, how are you? You look very dapper.
Awesome. I'm excited about today's show, though.
Are you
I think it's going to be good.
Dapper Dan?
I don't know. My name's
Dapper
not
Greg?
Dan, but
Dapper Greg.
Yes.
there you go.
Well, today's show is very important because obviously coming up with the 7 retirement realizations, people go through so many different emotions when they're thinking about retiring. But the one thing that I really emphasize on and think about a lot would be how your job really does help identify who you are as a person. Kristen, how often do people ask you, what do you do? That's the first question they ask you, even meeting at a party.
Yeah, the first realization that people come to when they go to retire is if your job provides some of your identity, right?
Yes.
So today's show, we're talking about what you come to realize after you've already retired. Maybe the things that you worry about prior to retirement. Well, we're going to tell you what you're going to realize once that actually happens. But, you know, think about it. How many things in life over the years have you realized that were different than what you expected them to be?
All the time.
Right? For me, it was parenting. I remember before I even thought about being pregnant with my first child, Christian, I read all the books. I mean, the internet was out there, obviously, but, you know, the books were big still, like parenting books. I can't think of
What to expect when you're expecting. I loved that. I read that cover to cover.
And so many things happened that, you know, I wasn't expecting, even just from reading the book. And parenting for sure, you know. There's the quintessential labor process. Well, that was thrown out the window with my son. I mean, my water broke. I was in labor for 24 hours. It was awful. My epidural wore off. I mean, all the things that could go wrong went wrong. And I wasn't really prepared, I don't think. So the first one being your identity. Your job provides your identity. I think that that's one of the toughest things and one of the least talked about things, just from our experience when we meet with families every day of the week, is that people a lot of times have so much of their identity wrapped into their job title.
It's true.
And especially those that are the CEO or the boss at their job.
Absolutely.
Right?
Me?
And well, you think you're the boss at both places, and that's not necessarily true. We all know that. But, you know, you're running the show, so to speak, at work. You've got a staff underneath you, and then you retire. And now you think you're going to be the boss at home, and you're going to change things, and you're going to run things a certain way, and your wife's like, whoa. And sometimes the roles are reversed even, too.
Absolutely.
But, you know, your wife's like, whoa, 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 hold on there. I don't want you changing everything on me.
Absolutely.
And you have to step back and think, okay, well, I really enjoyed being in charge of whatever company. I really enjoyed having a staff and delegating things, and that was my gift, and now I don't have that. So now what do I do?
Yes, yes.
And you know, there's a sense of accomplishment, regardless of what your job is, that when you complete it and you're dependent upon, and so you walk away from that, and all of a sudden it's hard to really recognize what you're going to identify with.
Absolutely.
And how do you make that a reality? Well, I think part of that is we have to do things like maybe begin a new hobby.
Yes, very important.
Take a class.
Yes.
You know, how many times, like, I have all these beautiful guitars in my office that were given to us by different stars as we interviewed them, and people come into the office all the time and say, do you play the guitar? Well, no, but that's one of my goals. If I ever do have a little extra time, I would like to take lessons and learn how to play guitar.
That would be hot.
Would it?
Yeah,
Maybe I'll start next week.
Tomorrow. I would say tomorrow.
All right, yeah. Get on that right away.
Greg's going to be on the guitar next week on the show.
That's fantastic. That's a great opening for the show.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
okay.
Okay, yeah,
I see
instead
that.
of my singing. Or maybe she's just trying to get me. I get it now. All right. But check off the bucket list. You know, how many things, you know, I wish I could do this. My mother just recently turned 90, and we had a surprise party for her, and she had scheduled a cruise to go to Italy. because that was one of her bucket list things. And, she's like, well, before I pass away, I want to go to Italy. And so that was something that she booked all on her own. She didn't tell any of the kids. She's decided to do it and, tell us later.
Yeah.
But those are things. Find things that are important to you, things that you
Yes.
can be passionate about. Find something that's new to learn and re-identify yourself.
Well, and when we're talking about identity, we're talking about things that define us, right? So things that define us when we're working are our performance, right? Our performance, our fulfillment in completing a goal or a task, right?
Absolutely.
And so you can do that with your retirement as well. And not forgetting that those are things you can apply that to any area of life, whether it be child rearing, grandchildren, spending time with them, traveling. You can make those same things happen to define your identity. Another realization that we come to in retirement is your risk tolerance changes.
Yes, let's talk about that. That's
Yeah.
a big one.
It does. And, I met with a family recently, Cynthia, that, they retired. They had the same advisor for over 20 years. A tremendous advisor helped them accumulate over $2 million. They'd done a fabulous job. So they transitioned into retirement right about 2020. And what they realized was, okay, they needed to start taking some income from that $2 million they saved. And by the time they came in to meet with us, because they went through the 2020 pandemic, they went through the drop in 2022, and they came to meet with us, and they were taking about $60,000 a year out of their $2 million, but now they were down to about $1.6 million after 4 years. So taking $60,000 a year, but now they're down $400,000, a little more than that. And they realized that their tolerance for drops in the market had changed.
Absolutely.
Something that they had put up with all their working life while they were accumulating, and they didn't realize the dynamic that happened when you stop putting money in from every paycheck, and you're not getting that match from your company. And now all of a sudden, that money that you work so diligently to save has to provide an income. Has to
Absolutely.
provide sustainability to your retirement, the ability to not ever have to go back to work. And they came in and they said, we love our advisor. We really believe that he has our best interest at heart, but we don't believe he understands the dynamic of retirement. And so they made a hard decision to come and work with us, and we're so thankful to have the opportunity. But we were able to take about half of what they had left and generate the $60,000 per year, take half of what they had left and put it into growth so that they could keep pace with inflation, so they could keep pace with perhaps extra healthcare costs down the road, or taxes that can increase over time. And so that was a realization for them that their ability, the capacity for taking risk, and their tolerance for it had totally changed. It was a totally different dynamic than what they'd ever experienced before. And I find that many people aren't ready for that, but when they finally realize it, now they're looking.
And I love that they were open-minded to a new idea, a new way of thinking. They were so used to one way, but then when they came in to sit with you, to meet with you, they understood that this is actually in their best interest to make that switch right then and there.
It is. It is.
Well, Greg, you and Kristen have a very special offer to present. Let's talk about what that is before we take our very first commercial break today.
We have the Retirement Readiness Review. And if you're at home watching and you're wondering, am I taking too much risk for where I am right now in life? Realizing that perhaps it's time to start peeling back that risk. If you're wondering, is there a way to have a dependable income stream that will last your lifetime? Is there a way to perhaps plan for lower taxes in the future? Preparing for healthcare needs, and whatever's left behind, getting that to those you love as efficiently as possible. Just give us a call, 614-336-7660 for your retirement readiness review, or go to legacyretirementgroup.com and click schedule now.
Greg, thank you so much. Kristen, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, the number to call is on your screen. That number is 614-336-7660. If you're sitting in the viewing audience today and that you've recently retired and you're having some of these realizations for the very first time, don't miss the opportunity to claim your spot with Greg and Kristen today. All you have to do is call in 614-336-7660. If you don't have your pen handy, that's okay. Grab your smartphone. Click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to the landing page for Legacy Retirement Group, and you can claim your spot accordingly. We're going to take a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back and we're talking more about the 7 realizations in retirement, we're going to jump into navigating fear and changing plans. Stay tuned.
We know the market is going to get worse from here. This is the biggest monthly decline in 10 years. People's 401ks took a major hit.
My investments are tanking. My retirement isn't going as planned. I can't believe I let my kid talk me into buying crypto. I mean, what is that anyway?
This was the 4th worst contraction in history.
So how are you two doing?
Your financial future doesn't have to be uncertain. I'm Kristen Taylor with Legacy Retirement Group. If you've amassed a nest egg, it's time for a financial advisor to help you reach your retirement goals. This is one of the greatest tax windows in history. Now is the time to take advantage of this tax discount while you can. We specialize in retirement planning, tax mitigation, estate planning, and much more. Plan your retirement right. Call now for your portfolio review and tax analysis.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group, and we're talking all about 7 realizations that you may have when you enter retirement. We're going to jump into a scary one right now, fears. Let's get that one out of the way. Kristen, some of the common fears that I'm sure you and Greg hear quite often revolve around financial insecurity. People are nervous.
Yes.
They're afraid to run out of money, correct?
Yes. So realization number 3 is the biggest fears prior to retirement can often be easily navigated. You're going to realize that because like you're talking about financial insecurity, that's probably the number 1 fear. And when we say financial insecurity, we're talking about, is my money going to last?
Exactly.
Right? And how do we navigate that? How do we come to the realization that it can be navigated with some planning? Well, number 1, the word we always say is not a fun word to talk about in retirement is budgeting.
Yes.
And planning. And budgeting, I say this all the time on our podcast and radio show. Budgeting does not have to be a bad word. It can be something that just helps you plan and understand exactly where you stand. It doesn't mean that you have to take things away. It doesn't mean any of that. It can be just something to provide that extra financial stability you need to be sure that you're going to be okay in your retirement years.
And let's call it a spending plan instead.
Yes,
Isn't
I like
that more
that.
fun?
I
It's
forget
not
you
a
like saying
budget.
that,
It's a
yes.
spending
You love that,
plan.
don't you?
Yes, yes.
The spending
Yes,
plan?
we were talking about that recently when
Yes.
you lost your luggage, right?
Oh, yes,
Or the
that was
airline
fun.
lost your luggage.
Yes, that
Said,
was
well,
fun.
You just got to
that
go
was
spend
something
some money.
unplanned. I love the first segment.
Yes. Well, goodness, we were in Phoenix, and we're sitting at dinner, and we get these alerts on our phone that says it's going to be, what was that?
Dust storm.
Dust storm.
Dust storm, yes.
Yes, where it says visibility was going to be near 0. We're talking about dust, and if you wear contacts, how exciting is that, right?
You're right. You're exactly right.
I'm not
I
leaving.
didn't think about that.
But you get this alert, and we're finishing up dinner. We're saying, well, we better get back to our hotel and get out of the
Harm's
way
way.
of
Yeah.
all that stuff. And when you think about budgeting and planning for retirement, that becomes more of a plumb line. It's not that we want to hold someone to every nth degree of a budget, but when you have that plumb line, now you can say, okay, with what I need to spend on regular bills, on incidental lifestyle things that come up, long-term lifestyle things where we want to travel, we want to do repairs on our home and projects and things like that. You start navigating through all those things and realizing, okay, this is what I truly would like to spend. Here's how much income I have. How do I fill the gap? How do I make sure that I have enough to live my lifestyle?
True.
And once we do that math and figure it out, now it's just a matter of creating an income plan. And that income plan is really designed to give people the confidence. And how do you do that? Well, you have to use different tools. If you only have one tool in the box and you try to fix every problem with that tool, it never works.
That's true.
Because one tool's not efficient enough to handle every single issue that's out there. So what we find in this industry, you have people that only do one thing. And the people that only do one thing, it doesn't matter if they are people that are brokers and they do stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, and all of a sudden every problem has to be fixed by a stock, bond, or mutual fund, and that just doesn't work. Or those that are working in the insurance industry and they want to solve every problem with an insurance product, and I can tell you that doesn't work. or those that are only in the banking industry and they want to solve every issue with the banking system, and that doesn't work either. So we need a combination of things, and that's why we have 3 segments of planning: our emergency planning, our income planning, and our growth planning. And when we go through those 3 segments, what we find is now we have a lot more confidence because we've got enough to handle emergencies. We have enough income to do everything we wanted to do in the budget. And now we have enough growth to offset inflation in the future.
Well, and those things offset the next biggest concern that needs to be navigated, and that's the loss of purpose.
Yes.
Once you have those financials in place, that financial stability we're talking about, you can really start addressing the other things we're going to get to here. And one of them being the loss of purpose, because it kind of plays off of what we were talking about in the last segment about how, you know, your job defines you. Well, what do you do after that? Now you have to go and find your next thing, your next purpose. And you can do that when you have financial stability. Now you know that you have the time on your hands to be able to go and, you know, whatever it is. We've talked before on the show about a client of ours that goes to the hospital and volunteers in the NICU.
Yes, I love that.
And there's all
Rocking
kinds
babies.
of things you can do that, you know, fill your time, their hobbies and interests, or just really things that can redefine you. They can redefine your life now that you have time to do it.
Absolutely.
And a big realization, Cynthia, is that plans can change quickly. There's a family we work with.
Absolutely.
We've worked with them now for probably 10 years. When they first came in, they were really concerned because the husband had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, but just diagnosed. And so we did some planning for them. We did an income plan, we did an investment plan, and we did a healthcare plan for what might happen in the future. Well, what might happen in the future actually did happen in the future. So in their income plan, they had a trigger that if he was ever unable to perform 2 out of 6 of his activities of daily living, that the income piece we set up for them would double. So in their case, it went from $50,000 a year that we were providing for them for extra income now to $100,000 for up to 5 years. And eventually, he ended up going to a nursing home. So the plans kept changing. He was diagnosed. He couldn't do the things he needed to do at home. He went to a nursing home, and then he ended up passing away in the nursing home. And his wife still had the $50,000 a year that we had planned in the plan. And now, once she kind of got through her sorrow and, you know, was able to put her life back together, then we helped her plan her travel.
Yeah.
And I just met with her last week. She was getting ready to go on her 3rd cruise of the year.
Wow.
And so how was she able to do all that? Well, plans changed quickly. Yes, they did.
Yeah.
But we had a plan that could change with life with her.
Yes.
And help her navigate
Yes.
it.
And help her navigate.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's all
Yes.
about. We can't control our health and we can't control everything about our life, but what we can control is we have someone that's in our corner that's helping us navigate each and every step.
And you do that with every single client that you have. We could spend hours talking about the people that you've both helped because you actually truly care. And to the audience, I have to make that point directly to you. If you're watching us for the very first time, Greg and Kristen, they are 2 of the most caring, most genuine advisors that you'll ever meet. They really do genuinely care about you. On that note, Kristen, I know that you and Greg have a special offer to present to our clients or to our viewers at home that potentially will be clients. Let's talk a little bit about what that is before we open the phone lines.
Yeah, I think since we've been talking about on this segment about navigating those changes and those concerns that come through, one of the big things we talked about on this segment was getting things in order financially to provide financial stability. And one ways to do that is going right on our website and requesting a My Retirement Kit. And I think starting there to get things in order, figure out where you stand with your budgeting items, with the things that you have saved through your working years, it helps navigate through some of the questions that you might formulate once you come in to meet with us. So you can go right on our website and request that from the Tools tab. And you can also call our office, of course, at 614-336-7660.
Kristen, thank you so much. Greg, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is 614-336-7660. And if you're in the viewing audience today, you're watching for the very first time, and you're asking yourself, do I have a plan in place for my retirement? Do I have to navigate these 7 realizations on my own? Well, the answer is no. But you have to do one thing to take advantage of that. That's pick up the phone and call in 614-336-7660. If you have your smartphone handy, go ahead, grab it, click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. You can claim your spot accordingly with Greg and Kristen. Once again, that number is 614-336-7660. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We're talking all about the 7 realizations that come with retirement. We're going to jump into time, aging, and new purpose when we return.
For over 4 decades, the government has been telling us you can save for your retirement in tax-deferred accounts and take a tax deduction on your current income. They tell us no worries. When you retire, you'll be in a much lower tax bracket. You can then take withdrawals and save a boatload of money on taxes. We have been conditioned to pay the least amount of taxes today, assuming tax rates will be much lower when we retire. But let's be honest, with over $32 trillion in national debt, we have a tax bullseye on our backs. Take control of how steep your tax burden will be in retirement by taking the Roth Conversion Challenge. Provide us with your retirement account statements, and we will design a Roth conversion plan for you and your family to make your retirement income plan truly tax efficient. Enough is enough. Don't let the future legislation significantly increase your taxes during retirement. Take the Roth Conversion Challenge with us and remove the tax bullseye from your back. Go to testmyretirement.com or call to set up your no cost, no fees, no obligation consultation. We look forward to seeing you at our office, and have a blessed day.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group, and we're talking all about the 7 realizations that you may experience in retirement. Kristen, this next one, this is a big one. Time abundance can be overwhelming. Number 5, too much time abundance.
That seems weird, doesn't it?
Right?
Like, are you going to really realize, am I going to really realize that I have too much time on my hands? You are. You are.
It's true.
And it's interesting because retirees' schedules end up being pretty full, but they're full of things that, you know, it's like appointments, right? Hair appointment, you've got this, you've got that with the grandkids, things like that, but you still have an abundance of time left over. And when I say it can be overwhelming, it's because now you're not tied to a work schedule. Even if you ran a business, you know, like one of the benefits of having your own business, you said all the time that you can keep your own schedule, right? Well, that's not always actually true. You know that. You've been in business all your life. So now we've got to fill a schedule with things that are fulfilling, right, and purpose-driven.
Absolutely.
Because we're not going to feel good about our retirement if we don't have something that's purpose-driven. And when I say that, I don't mean work necessarily, but you want good things to define you, right? Whether it's volunteering your time, making a difference in your community, making a difference in your church. There's all kinds of things that you can fill your time with.
Absolutely.
And so going into it, understanding that, like, this isn't just a, you know, what's the saying, hog wild? Did I get that right? I don't know.
I think it's more willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly.
Hey, that is a real saying, and I've had confirmation. People have called in and said that is a real saying. That's a Southern saying. But really, you have all this time, and you want it to have purpose, you know?
But don't you find, Kristen, sometimes when you're retired, if you have one thing on in the day, that you think you don't really have any other time left in your day?
Well, I don't find that because I'm not retired, but we do find that with people we meet with.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting with all this is finding new ways to be fulfilled.
Yes.
And something that's really come across my attention, I've not tried this yet, but so many of our clients are playing pickleball.
Yeah. New activities, right?
New activities, right. And so pickleball, have you ever played it?
I have not. I'm still trying to master tennis, and that's not going well.
Yeah.
You get to be cute in both. I mean, that's
okay.
I would do it. It's fun.
For the activity or for the outfits?
For the outfits.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie.
All right.
You know me. I'm not athletic. I have never claimed to be
from
that.
what I understand, it's played on a smaller court, and you use a harder paddle and like a wiffle ball, maybe? I've not played pickleball. So
it's like modified. This is horrible because someone's going to call in and say, no, you got it all wrong. But it's like tennis and what's ping pong.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Now, yes,
combined.
you're
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah.
That is combining the two because I've watched people play it, and it's smaller.
Yeah.
Or perhaps we could take golf lessons because I know I could sure use them.
Except you can't
can
give
all
me
use
golf
them.
lessons.
No,
That
I
doesn't
cannot.
work.
So
yeah,
the
don't
first-
give your wives
the
golf
first time,
lessons.
No, the first time we ever went golfing together, you know, she was struggling. I thought, well, you know, I'll be a gentleman. I'll try to help. No. That ended in tears.
It did.
So I'm like, okay, all right, note to self, do not try to help. That does not help. But playing golf together, that's something we do enjoy doing.
So
from time to
that can
time.
be a fun
Absolutely.
realization.
Yes.
Another one would be the effects of aging can be rapid. That's number
Wow.
6.
Yeah,
That's
that's
Change the tone
unfortunate.
there. Yeah.
It
It's
is.
true.
And that's why we encourage people, if you retire at 60 or 65 or even maybe 70, plan stuff.
Absolutely.
Do
It's
stuff.
important.
Plan activities. So many people are, all they've ever been is saving mode. I'm going to save, I'm going to save, I'm going to save. And that's wonderful. You get to that point in your life where you've saved and you saved. Great. Now you've got this money. What are you going to do with it? And if you leave it all behind, guess what? Your family does not have a problem spending it.
Yeah.
So we want people to plan to spend what they have and do those things so that they can enjoy their retirement, because there does come a time when our health begins to shift.
Of course.
Sometimes it's very rapidly, sometimes it's over the course of time, but overall we want people to feel as though, okay, I retired and I got to accomplish the things I wanted to accomplish while I could.
Absolutely. And also mental and emotional well-being. I know we only have
I'm glad you brought that up
Yes.
because that's a big one, and we've talked about that so many times. I feel
Yes.
like you do a good job with maintaining your mental health and your physical health.
Thank
I mean,
you. I
if
try
you've
to.
watched any length of time, we've talked about that. Cynthia does an amazing job.
Oh, thank
and I do
you.
think that matters and that helps with the aging process, because you're only as old as you
think you
yeah,
are.
as you think you are. Thank you for helping me with that saying.
I knew where you were going.
And I mean, really, it's so true, and that can be something that it extends your life even. I
Yes.
mean, that's a big part of things. And the last one, we've kind of touched on this a little bit, but I want to say it, is you can move forward to a new purpose.
Absolutely.
And that's really, really important to understand, is
It
that
is.
you can redefine yourself. You can have a new purpose in life, whether it has to be with some charity that you're passionate about, your grandchildren, maybe even a new consulting job. There's so many things you can do. You're just not sitting on the couch moving through retirement that way.
It's the first page in a brand new book.
It
it's
is.
not the
I
end
love
of
that.
the book.
Yes.
Right? It's so
Yes.
true.
The next big thing, whatever
Yes.
that means. I want to plan something big just before I go, just so I'll have something to look forward to.
Well, we already know it's guitar lessons.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to get on that right away, I think.
Greg and Kristen, thank you so much for another amazing episode this week. To our viewers at home, most specifically, we'd like to thank you for spending time with us today as we went through the 7 retirement realizations. If you're finding any of these actually describe who you are, where you are right now, this is the perfect time for you to take advantage of the testmyretirement.com 614-336-7660, or click on that QR code. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. We'll see you back 1 week from today. Take care now.